And it's great to be joined in the studio by Will from KPI Recruitment. Good afternoon, Will.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, really well, thank you. Good to be here.
Fantastic. Now, the reason that you joined us in the studio is because we want to give people some top tips on applying for jobs, on recruitment agencies, on interview tips. Basically, you are our resident expert on job hunting and job seeking. So just to give people a bit of a sense of where you're coming from and give you a little bit of credibility, what do you do? What is your job?
So I'm the head of driving for a company called KPI Recruiting. We're based in Northampton. We've got 9 branches across the UK. We predominantly supply driving and warehouse staff. Certainly from our branch in Northampton. Cover 7 sectors as over the business: industrial, driving, commercial, executive, hospitality, rail, and care. So we cover quite a lot of areas really. So
quite a lot of different areas that people might want to get jobs in. And you're the person that they talk to when they come into the agency or they ring you up and you help them find work.
Yes, yeah. So there's myself and Sylvia, Magic, and Joe, who all work in the Northampton office. Each all have a different sector that we look after. So we cover a range of things really. So if there's anyone who is out there looking for work, this is certainly something we can potentially help with.
Okay, cool. So the reason you're here today is to help people that are job hunting with finding work and the best way to do that. And what would you say are the top tips for applying for jobs? What should people be doing?
I think the best thing is to be honest. I think for us to get a good feel of the person who's applying for the job, obviously it's very handy to know what their experience is and where they've been before, but also what their preference would be as well. So a lot of people have been in jobs where they've not necessarily liked it. That's what their experience says on their CV, but it's not really what they're looking for. So I think just be honest really, and know the role that you're going for, and to let us know as much as you can of how that role would fit you really.
Because I think it's very tempting to exaggerate on your CV and to kind of big yourself up. And I think there's 2 sides to it. Some people have this awful imposter syndrome where they're way too honest and they'll point out the things that they can't do in an interview. Other people go the whole sort of don't care or just make up whatever I think people want to see on the CV. What would you say is the best tip for that?
I think ultimately we're here to find you work. So it's in our best interest to find you the right job that's for you, rather than just placing you on a job that we know and you're probably only going to stick it out for a couple of weeks. So again, just honesty really. I think let us know really what it is that you're looking for, what the type of work, the hours of work that you're really looking for, and the industry that you want to be in, which will give us all a good chance of getting you in some long time work.
Would you say it's important to use an agency? What are the benefits of going through a recruitment agency?
So I think agencies are it's a great starting point for someone who's looking for full-time work. More and more companies now are taking people on through the agency on a temp to perm process. So they'd start you off as the agency as a temp, and then look to take you on full-time after an agreed period. So it's a great time. It's a great opportunity for someone to come in and who's seeking full-time work. On the other side, it's also good for someone who needs that flexibility as well. So I think if it's someone whose their family life doesn't support having a 9-to-5 job Monday to Friday, if they want to be able to pick up shifts when they want, or if they can only do certain days of certain weeks, it's a good that's always a good way of coming in through the agency, because there's no obligation for you to be at work every single day. And we can very much go by your availability. So if you can only work Monday to Friday, or it is only just weekends that you're looking for, it's something that agencies can accommodate a lot more than full-time employers.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to chat some more with Will shortly. We've got music from Tupac and Harry Styles on the way next. Hold Me Closer on Revolution Radio. It's Wednesday afternoon. And before the What's On guide, we're going to have another chat with Will from KPI Recruitment, who has joined me in the studio today, our resident recruitment expert. So if you have any questions about job hunting, then do get in touch with us, because we can put your questions to Will when he comes in the studio. And I think the other aspects, because obviously you're, as a recruitment agency, you're working on both sides. So for people looking for jobs, but also for companies that have a position that they need to fill. And sometimes it can be really hard finding the right people to fill those jobs. So what kind of benefits does it offer to a company to go with an agency?
I think so. The biggest benefit for a company is convenience. I think it's employing people can be a very time consuming thing. There's a lot of CVs that people have to go through, and a lot of picking people out and interviewing and things. And we would take on all of that for the client, so we would do the hard work in the background really. So I think there's with us being specialists in the sectors that we supply people to, it means that we've got a large pool of appropriate and relevant workers that we can potentially put forward for the positions that they've got available. So whilst the client might be able to put an advert up on a job board, it's going to take them some time to go through that and to get the right candidates, whereas chances are we've probably already got the right candidates already that have enrolled with us. So it can be a very time
saving.
Saving, very time saving exercise.
Fantastic. Now things have changed a bit in the world of job interviews, because I remember when I was first applying for jobs, it was a lot more like on The Apprentice, or they'd just be really nasty and ask you horrible questions. But now I think job interviews tend to be a bit more about giving examples of how you can do the job rather than trying to catch you out.
Yeah, I think so. I think ultimately, the client needs you and you need the job. So I think it's not. They're not quite as scary as what they used to be. I think again, it's all just about being honest, and they're trying to figure out whether that's the best job for you, and vice versa, really.
So what sort of questions do you get asked in an interview nowadays? Because I know a lot of people are probably reluctant to apply for jobs because they're terrified of job interviews, like exams and driving lessons. It's one of those things in life that nobody really enjoys job interviews, do they?
Yeah, I think it can be an intimidating experience, definitely. But I think mostly I think the clients just want to know what you've been doing, and they want to know what your skill sets are, really. So I think the best thing to do is to expand and talk about as much as you can on the experience that you've had, and what would be relevant to the job that you're applying for. And I think just telling yourself as much as you can, really, and just talking to them as much as you can about the kind of person that you are, so they can really get a feel for you as a person rather than just what your capabilities are at work as well, because I think that is very important. So
as a recruitment agency, are you kind of like the cheerleader for the candidates, and you're giving them tips and saying, okay, he might ask you this in the interview, make sure you're ready for this question, and it's kind of giving your candidates as much help as you can to land the job? Yeah,
absolutely. I think we ultimately we'd like to give the candidates as much of a head start as possible. With a lot of the roles being very similar or the same as roles that we've already placed people in. Generally, we know the kind of questions that are going to be asked and what's going to be expected of them. So, it's certainly if a candidate comes in from a branch point of view, if they come in to us, it's not going to be an intimidating experience at all. It's very much we'd be fact finding, really, and getting a good feel for them to give them as much of a head start as we can for an interview. Yeah,
because I've had good experiences in the past. I had a recruitment agency that helped me redo my CV, and then rang up obviously afterwards to ask how the interview went. I said, "Oh, good luck." When I got the job, they sent me a little card saying, "Well done, congratulations on the job." I thought that was really nice to just kind of go the extra mile and make you feel like they really care about you.
Yeah, definitely. And that's it's not just where our job ends, really. It's not a case of us, putting a bum on a seat and leaving you to it. We very much like to check in and to check that that is the right position for you, and to check that all parties are happy, really. We always speak to the candidates after they've taken their job, to see how they're getting on, if there's anything they need to raise, and likewise with the client as well. We always like to check in on both parties, really, to ensure that it is the right fit for everybody.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining me, sir. That's really interesting, and hopefully given a bit of confidence to people, a bit of encouragement to people that are in the process of applying for jobs, or maybe inspired people to kind of look a little bit around if you're dreading Monday mornings and the job isn't really what you wish you were doing. Then there's a lot more out there, but you've got to be brave. haven't you? Thanks very much, Will, for joining me.
No, more than welcome. Thank you.
Okay, stay there for Pink Pantheress next.